Hello and welcome. This is rooflemonger. My friends, day one of Evo Japan has now wrapped up, and we got some interesting things to show you and to talk about. When it's Evo season, you can always expect all sorts of new goodies for fighting games. Now, to just put it for what it is, this is day one wrapping up. I guess what you would call the real main events haven't happened just yet. Like, there's some lovely signage up on site, right? And what could this possibly mean? Who is this character for Guilty Gear? There's this poster up on site for Street Fighter 6. I don't know who that is. That person isn't in the game. Maybe we'll learn more about this crazy, unknowable character in a day or two. So yeah, maybe the signature reveals that you're expecting, not just yet. That'll be soon enough though, right? But for now, we got a lot of things on, say, Fatal Fury, City of the Wolves. That was a really sick combo, by the way. We got some details on the Hunter x Hunter game, Nen Impact, and also some other small little details. So first, let's start with Hunter Nen Impact. There's actually been a lot of new footage and a lot of new info since the initial blowout we had the other day on the channel. So not the least of which, we have new characters. So we had the 6 characters that we've already seen, and those are the ones playable at Evo Japan, but we have 2 more that have been showcased besides them. So we have Uvogin, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, and Machi. They are the new characters that will be in the game. So these are characters 7 and 8. Now, unfortunately, we don't have much in the way of footage of these characters just yet, but we do have rough ideas on how they play. So Uvogin is the tank. He's the Hulk, he's the Sentinel, like whatever versus terms you want to apply. Apparently that's what he's all about. From the brief descriptions that we have, he's dripping with super armor, and he can literally just shout down projectiles. So he's a big boy's big boy, and that means I'm definitely guaranteed to play him. Machi seems more of a technical style character, and she can kind of pull you around with like threads or ropes, and also a trap-based character and can set traps on the screen. That's about it for now. Once again, details are a bit light. I'm sure they'll get their own dedicated trailer and dedicated gameplay time in time. Now, that said, we've actually learned quite a bit about the core game itself as well, and I already made the assumption with the previous video with the knowledge that we had, the game's going to be very much like Marvel vs. Capcom, but no, it's actually really going to be like Marvel vs. Capcom. So for one, check the other video if you haven't already, but one of the things I was wondering about previously is if there's going to be a snapback mechanic, like forcing the opponent to tag out against their will, due to how fast the health regeneration was, and yes, it turns out that is indeed a mechanic, it just wasn't shown off. But we've also learned that multiple characters have things like 8-way movement, as in, some of the crazier movement you might see in like a Magneto or a Doctor Doom in classic Marvel gameplay. While some of the footage we have right now is, obviously, newer people playing the game, not with a lot of experience in the game. If you have a character with 8-way movement, trust me, it'll get pretty bonkers pretty quick. And besides that, we have some people now testing out the game on site at Evo Japan, and a lot of classic Marvel vs. Capcom tricks work. Like this tweet here from Great Fern Man, confirming on site that there is plink dashing and OS proximity throws, option select proximity throws. So these are more, classically advanced Marvel vs. Capcom tricks, and it also confirmed that wave dashing is still very much a thing. And apparently some of the characters are mildly complex, like Hisoka has negative edge bungee gum mechanics. Now, I've heard the term bungee gum over the years. I still haven't watched the show. I guess I'll find out when the time comes. But yeah, you can apply bungee gum, and using negative edge, holding the button, letting go of the button, you can do various things with it. So that's a thing, I guess. So happy to get just a few more details about the game and some more upcoming characters, and I'm sure there'll be a lot more coverage in the months to come. Another thing announced at Evo Japan, and this one mildly surprising to me, is we got a new version of Breaker's Revenge. We have Breaker's Revenge Chicago Edition. And no, I in no way stuttered in saying that. Yes, it's Breaker's Revenge Chicago. So Breaker's Revenge, classic game, came out in 1998. And now in 2024, we're getting a new version. That's like saying, all of a sudden out of the blue, we're just going to get an all-new version of Street Fighter 2. Which, to be fair, actually totally happened. So there's precedence for it. But yeah, as far as I understand it, and how it's been announced to me, is Breaker's Revenge Chicago is basically Breaker's Revenge Classic, but with grooves. And there is 3 grooves. The Revenge groove, where the character plays like classic Breaker's Revenge, so like what you've known for the last 20 plus years. Extra mode, and Chicago mode. And Chicago mode has revamped character balance, and also certain core mechanics are apparently different, like short hops are now a thing. So basically, if you want to pick revenge mode, you are just playing the classic game. Extra, I don't have too much in the way of details right now, but I'm sure it's a different style of way to play. And Chicago mode is just a full-on rebalance. And you can pick and choose and fight them as you please. So, not much in the way of details past that. I don't know if it's ever going to come out anywhere else in the world. This could be just in Japanese arcades forever. If there was ever a PC port that could be played worldwide, that'd be really cool. I don't know. Breakers is a very, very fun game. You know, the classic old school feel, and not as broken as some of the other old school games. It's actually very playable. Maybe if this does well, we can get Breakers Revenge Montreal next. An oddball announcement to be sure, but a welcome one. Now, let's head back to City of the Wolves. So we don't have things like character trailers for new characters yet. I do think that will be coming, but just not for today. But we now have a better understanding of certain aspects of the game. You know, not big stuff, but still, it helps. Lots of people are playing it on site. In fact, too many people are playing it on site, as they had to cut your playtime. Originally was scheduled, if you went to the kiosk, you could play for 25 minutes, and they had to cut that to 15 minutes because the lines are way too long on site. Which, like, from a purely marketing perspective, is a good problem to have, I suppose. So now one of the things we now know is the character select screen, and they're going for something different than the usual. Normally, you know, it's the grid, you pick your character and go from there. Here, the characters are just kind of standing in the foreground, which is a Fatal Fury classic. Everyone kind of standing around, and then you can pick from them, right? And this is exactly that, and going by that, there looks like there could be a lot of characters. There's room for quite a few people. If you condense people, especially how they were in the older games, there's room for 20 plus easily at launch. Who knows the actual number, but I just like how it's done. I think it's a good, effective art style, the way to do it. At bare minimum, presents a different vibe than pretty much every other fighting game on the market at the moment. Another thing we now know is the secret moves, at least some of them. Characters have basically, you know, your ultra, your ultimate attack. These are the secret moves. Secret in that they're not publicly advertising what the motions are for them at the very least. But yeah, they're a big deal. They take 2 bars, and you can only do it when you're in your SPG in. Basically, the section of your health bar that determines like where you're at your best in the match. You can set that at the beginning of your health, the middle, or the end, but the move is only available once you're in SPG in. On top of being the big cinematic super that does a lot of damage, the reason why they're so good is because it puts your rev gauge back at 0, no matter where it is. Here, T-Zoc is in overheat mode while doing this very crazy, very elaborate move, right? And at the completion, he's back at 0. As an equivalent, say, to Street Fighter 6, this would be like if you did your level 3 super while you're in Burnout, and it immediately just gave you all 6 of your drive bars back, and Burnout's over. So you can overextend, do your secret super, and then be back to 0 like nothing happened. So big deal. And a lot of these are like, you know, phone footage, right? But with direct capture, they look really, really good. This is a beautiful looking game. When you go for it, it has like this kind of comic booky effect appear all over the screen with like the dots. Character hits like the outline. Like it's very dramatic. Everything looks really good in an already good looking game, as you can see here. For Terry, he puts you like in a whirlwind, and then he power geysers the whirlwind and it explodes. That's the right kind of dramatic that we need. Stuff looks good. In recent years, presentation maybe not SNK's strongest point, but that is definitely not the case here. City of the Wolves is a damn good looking game. And that said, that's about the news for now. So, you know, day 1, not a lot of big things going on. Day 3 is where everything's going to go down for sure. So many character reveals, so many trailers. It's going to be crazy. And I'll do my best to make sure you're caught up on everything. So stay tuned for the channel for that. And other than that, well, we're at the end of the video. So thank you for watching. Hope this video has found you well. And go out and play some fighting games.